All right, what is up, everybody? This is Alex once again with another episode of the EOT News Flash. This is episode 72. Can I interest you in a door that goes nowhere? We'll get to that here in a minute. I do want to welcome back some co-hosts. So if you're watching over on YouTube, directly beneath me to your left, you'll see a static image of Mr. Spell Pierce himself because his camera wasn't working, or so he says. Mr. Pierce, how are you tonight?
No, I wanted to hop on my PC because it loads faster. And this way we shouldn't have any cutout in voice.
Okay.
I will be getting a camera for this PC soon. But to answer your question, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Okay.
Glad to be back.
Yes, glad to have you back. And also to beneath me to the viewers' right, we have Mr. Forkenrath. How's it going, Justin?
It's going all right. Glad to be back.
Yes. I have been solo for the past 2 weeks, so I got to speak my mind uninhibited, usually by Sean interjecting with, prudent points. But tonight he's out becoming a vampire. So next week we'll see if Sean has actually succumbed to the vampiric gene and turned into a creature of the night. Yeah.
By his words, he's doing a bat thing.
Bat thing was the exact wording. Bat boxes, I think, was the term. Which sounded like something that Batman does when he raps. I don't know. But that being said,
I could get behind that.
I can't.
Hey, you're doing some movie reviews. You gotta come up with one.
Oh, I should do like a rap for my video reviews.
Oh my!
Oh, God.
No, don't.
Yeah,
I'd listen.
I'm with Justin on this. This is a terrible idea. Although I will say, before I first started doing it, I was gonna call the video review series Alex Reviews Something Exciting, or ARSE for short. I didn't know how it would go.
So you would have gotten me to watch the first episode. I already did, but still.
At least the first one.
Yeah. Alex is talking out his arse.
Right? Oh God. Yeah, maybe not. But yeah, we won't talk about those reviews right now because this is a magic show and we have magic things to talk about. And so we finally have information. Yeah, magic. Friendship is magic. Friendship is magic.
I'm just excited to be able to talk about a cat.
Yes, and Friendship is Magic is a great segue into our first topic because we finally have details on Hascon. The tickets for Hascon have gone live to purchase. And what Hascon is Hasbro's first ever convention of all of their intellectual property. Transformers, Magic, every board game under the sun, if I'm not mistaken, like Monopoly and things like that, Scrabble. Also, did I say Transformers? I think I said Transformers.
Yes.
Yeah, My Little Pony, Magic, like everything that they have, IP-wise, will be under the one roof. I believe this is the first one they've ever done, which seems odd because you have things like Transformicon or whatever the Transformers convention is. You have My Little Pony conventions. Mm-hmm. You have Gen Con for board games. You have Magic Grand Prix and GP Las Vegas, which is essentially a Magic convention. So I'm kind of confused on why they're finally doing it now, but it's whatever.
Well, it's their own thing that once they get it started, like it'll be a real prestigious deal probably to get into for their company.
Oh, for most
for someone else to get invited to this would be big. But you got to start somewhere.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they are making a go of it, to say the least. So I was going to have visual up on the screen of all the pricing and all the things we're talking about tonight, so I do apologize for that. I cannot get it to work tonight, guys. So if you're watching on YouTube, apologies there. You can just watch our faces and get excited about things. So,
Wait, you were going to have a visual for pricing?
Well, I was going to show the picture of the website.
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure all they did was take a dartboard. And they're just like, and this is that, and this is that. Ooh, we hit the bullseye. Yeah. Max ticket is $600.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So, the single day pricing is $60 for adults, 16 and up. 30 to 15 is $30. For a 3-day ticket, it is $165 for adults 16 up, and then 3 to 15 are $75, which is reasonable, I guess. And what's cool about this whole event is that for Magic players in particular, this is going to be the first unveiling of Iconic Masters, which is this Masters set that's going to be incorporating iconic cards from the history of Magic, which is what I thought we were already doing with Eternal Masters and Modern Masters. So I don't know. They haven't spoiled anything yet.
Well, the only thing they have said on it is that they won't do anything on the reserved list.
Oh, that's true. Which is kind of yeah.
Which is a super bummer, by the way.
Yeah, it's whatever though. They'll do it eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, this event is actually taking place on. I know, Steven. It's sad. I know. We're all sad.
I don't. If they hadn't, this would have been the opportunity to do anything about it if they were going to. So I don't think they will.
It most definitely is. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's for something like this. I don't know. It's a tricky proposition, I think. But this event is taking place on September 8th through the 10th, which I believe is a full 2 months ahead of schedule of the actual release of Iconic Masters. So if you go to this and you pay the $60 it is to get into a Iconic Masters sealed event, you will be opening cards and getting to see cards without any spoilers. So you will have the chance to see cards before anybody else will, which I think is pretty cool.
I think it's freaking sweet.
Yeah, it's like an old school pre-release. Like, did you guys ever go to the old school pre-releases back when they were like regional events?
I mean, I was going to pre-releases when I first got into Magic, but I mean, I was super casual, so I didn't know it was a big deal. It was just super exciting.
Yeah, did you, Steven?
No, I got into Magic in Magic 2013, or like right before that pre-release.
Yeah. So so this went on back when like Alara was still like the new set coming out, and it would be like a massive. You go to like a convention center, and you would attend the pre-release there without any spoilers whatsoever, and so the cards being opened up for the first time. So they're trying to evoke this feeling again. It seems like. I
mean, my first pre-release was 10, and it was definitely at a local comic shop, and 10 was definitely before Alara.
Was it?
Yeah.
Whatever it was. Oh, well, they were a thing. I don't know if it was different or when they started changing the system. I just know that they used to be a thing. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't go to any either because
I've heard stories too.
Yeah.
Now, of course, at 10, the internet hadn't completely suffused the Magic community yet, so you didn't have things like, online deck lists. You didn't have online spoilers. Or if you did, I'm sure they were out there somewhere, but as a high school student playing Magic, it was just like, these are cool cards. Yeah, I wonder what cards are in these packs.
Exactly, yeah. So so it's kind of capturing that old school feel of an old school pre-release, which I think is super sweet. And if you're inclined to go do that, effectively you're paying your $60 or your $165 plus a $60 entry fee to these tournaments. So you're already pushing like the $250, almost $300, entry fee to this whole event, plus any foods and whatever incidentals you would have to get. Now, as Steven alluded to, there is a super fan choice here. And for the low price of $600 plus tax, which I believe comes out to $642 American dollars, you can. And have you guys read this list yet? Of what all is actually involved here?
So I looked at the list that MTG Goldfish posted, and then I went to Hascon and looked at the list that they posted.
It's bigger.
Yes, it's much bigger. It's worth mentioning that some of this helps drive the value of the $600 bundle up.
Yeah,
because it's for everything, not just one deal.
Yeah, exactly. And so what's cool here is that at Hascon they're doing this thing where it's a super fan ticket for different kinds of events. So you can have the normal one, or the Magic the Gathering, or the Dungeons and Dragons one, and they're all $600. And what you get with this Magic one, it's pretty absurd. So you get an interactive brand experience into all the new toys and games that Hasbro coming out. You have all the panel access. You have meet and greets, entertainments, cosplay, larger-than-life board games, which I think sounds super cool.
That sounds super exciting.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Commercial auction. You can audition to be in a Hasbro commercial if you're between the ages of 3 and 15. So sadly, none of us can do that.
I mean, if I shave my beard and lose my gut, I can fool them.
I actually got carded the other night because I was clean shaven when I went out with some friends of mine, and I got carded at a bar. I was like, this feels pretty good actually for being 29 in a couple months. Anyway, that's beside the point. So, plus, if you are a Magic the Gathering super fan, you get the following bonuses. 2 entries into Iconic Masters Advanced Release events. So that's already $120 right there. You get 3 silver bordered Magic the Gathering cards made especially for Hascon, featuring a mashup of Magic the Gathering and 3 awesome Hasbro brands. So already there is rumblings of a Transformers flip card.
That would be pretty sweet, actually.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Right? And of course, they're silver bordered, so they're not legal, obviously. So, like, My Little Pony Planeswalkers or something like that. How cool would that be?
I want to see a Monopoly Man Planeswalker, a flip card Transformer, and then a kill card where it shows a My Little Pony getting killed in a brutal fashion. That's my wish list for these promos.
Ah, I got dark.
Jeez.
Anyway, 1 entry into the Magic the Gathering 25th anniversary party featuring Magic the Gathering celebrities, which I don't know what that means. I'm assuming developers.
I know that there's supposed to be like an autograph session with like Mark Rosewater and other people. So
that's part of this, but I don't know what they mean by celebrities. I'm assuming like R&D people, pros or whatever.
Yeah,
I have no idea. But you also get to see Ixalan preview cards, which is cool, and of course, birthday cake. Because this is the 25th anniversary for Magic, and they didn't do anything for the 20th anniversary other than that relatively subpar from the Vault set, so I guess this is them making up for it, because cake. Hopefully it's not a lie. Reference.
It always is.
It always is. Also included in your entry, you get a goodie bag, including 6 more booster packs of something, Ultra Pro merchandise, Hascon merchandise, and more. The entry into the VIP autograph session that Justin mentions with Mark Rosewater and other people there. Access, and I kid you not, to the Dunkin' Donuts Center VIP lounge featuring comfy chairs, charging station, light snacks, water, and more.
To clarify, it's the Rhode Island Dunkin' Donuts stadium that it's in. Yeah. So this isn't just like a random Dunkin' Donuts VIP section in a different convention center.
I wish it was, though, just to be a little bit more absurd.
Oh, that would be... It would be.
Great.
That is something that I would expect from, Rhode Island. But I would also expect Dunkin' Donuts to own a convention center out in Rhode Island. So nothing surprises me.
Exactly. Also, we get a reserved seat for the Magic the Gathering 25th anniversary panel, a special guest VIP panel, and also reserved theater seating to reserve main panel seating in the Hascon Theater. So, if we wrap it all up here, I think this is about $600 worth of value because these cards will probably be worth up $10 million. So, Steven, what are your thoughts first on the Hascon stuff here?
It's cool. I have no intention of going, but more power to you if you decide to. I'm sure it'll be sweet. Let us know how it goes.
Oh, yeah. If you're going, please let us know. Yeah. Okay. So Steven has no feelings. Justin, do you have feelings?
I really, 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 really wish this was in Dallas. I would love to go to it. I'm not going to go to Rhode Island to go to this thing. And have any of you ever been to a convention of any kind where they had panels?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you know that the reserved seating thing is actually like a valid like tie-in to these super bundles.
That's a thing for sure.
Yeah, for those that haven't been to a convention, whether it's anime, Star Trek, whatever, when you go to a convention, half the time that you're there, you're standing in line for the panels you want to go to, because if you don't get there early, you will not get to go in.
Exactly.
Especially if they have the stupid policy where people don't have to get up from the previous panel and can just sit there and stay in panels all day long. Which is a super bummer for when, someone's been taking up half the seats for for an entire convention because they wanted to make sure they got in the convention panel the very last one of the day or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it looks sweet. I would have a lot of fun going to this. I mean, when you go to a convention, you have to expect to spend a lot of money. But I don't have the time or money to do this super fun bundle. I could probably afford to do the 3-day, ticket and a couple entries into the Iconic Master stuff, but unfortunately, the added cost of the flight and hotel just brings it up too much for me.
Yeah, we're talking like $1,500 if you want to go this route, I think, which is pretty steep for Magic. And we can just wait a couple months to actually just play it at our local game store, which is just fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about some spoilers that came out. But you might be wondering, it's not spoiler season, Alex. It's not even close. I'm like, no. It's always spoiler season.
Do you remember Kozilek?
Yeah, I do remember Kozilek.
It's always spoiler season, folks.
Always spoiler season because somebody out there with a digital camera and a Twitter account. It is worth noting here really quickly because the images that have been posted online of these spoilers had the Twitter handle Turn One Thoughtseize splattered all over them. I do want to go ahead and mention that they are in no way related to the Turn One Thoughtseize podcast over on MTG Cast. It's not them. That is really important here. I think it's I forget the actual name of the account, but it has since been suspended and shut down. So these leaked out somehow, and the source has been shut down completely. So that's all we're going to say about that. But this individual, Mr. Anonymous Turn One Thoughtseize, got a hold of some cards from the upcoming 2017 Commander decks, which don't come out until very late this year. I think sometime around September, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, these are they're 4 tribal decks. And it's been revealed that the first one, the Dragon deck, is 5 color. I actually didn't recognize that these were spoilers because I kept scrolling past the picture on my Facebook feed. And it was just showing a bunch of old dragons, like the 5 Tarkir dragons, not the mythic ones, but the regular ones that we saw in Fate Reforged. Things like Steel Hellkite, just some random dragons. And I finally clicked on it. And I really wish we had picture capability tonight because these are some stupidly cool spoilers. So, Steven, I'm going to throw it to you first. Tell us about Wasatori Nakoru Queen.
Well, I have no idea what her relevance is in the lore, but I know she's one of the 3 lore dragons.
Yep.
So she is 2 and then Jund.
Yep. Black, red, green.
Flying, trample, and then whenever she deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. If they can't, you create a 3/3 black, red, and green cat dragon creature token with flying.
Hold on. Did you say cat dragon?
Yeah, I heard they're like melding that with as many different things as possible, trying to see where the tipping point is.
Cat tribal, yo.
Is it possible, Steven, that this creature, Wasatora, is also a cat dragon?
Yes, actually.
Holy crap!
I just can't wait for a corgi dragon. That's gonna be great.
Oh my god!
And I think I can actually kind of finagle the script. Okay, Justin, we're gonna move you out of the picture really quickly. I'm sorry because we have to show off because I can get it to work over your picture. So here is Wasatori Nakoru Queen, and I can't find. I don't know where the token is, unfortunately.
At the very bottom.
Yeah, it's at the very bottom.
Very, very bottom? Okay, hold on.
It's pretty adorable. It is one thing I didn't know I ever needed.
Yeah. So if you're over on Mythic Spoiler here, like at the bottom where?
Oh, you're on Mythic
Spoiler. You're on Mythic Spoiler?
Yeah,
we're on the
I thought you were on the
site.
Imager.
Oh, okay, yeah, whatever. It's fine.
It's cute. You'll see it later.
Yeah, just
you have something to look forward to.
Yeah, go and look up the cat dragon because it is, like we said, it's freaking adorable. The internet has lost its collective mind, and I can't believe it's a thing. All right, so we actually have 5 spoilers here altogether. So Justin, I'm going to throw you. Oh, where did it go? Taigum, Ojutai Master. Tell us about Taigum.
Well, Taigum's pretty sweet. Up until this point, he's pretty much exclusively existed in the lore, with just kind of being hidden between card text. It's also an interesting choice that they chose to go with the Ojutai version instead of the version when he had betrayed and became a follower of Silumgar. Mm-hmm. But anyways, he is a 4 mana, 2 white and blue, legendary human monk, and instant sorcery and dragon spells you control can't be countered by spells or abilities.
Nice.
But it gets better. It doesn't stop there. It's not just Baral that happens to also work with dragons. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, if Taigum Ojutai Master attacked this turn, that spell gains rebound.
Damn.
Which for those of you that don't know, after the spell resolves, you exile it, and then at the beginning of your next upkeep, you get to cast it again for free.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, he's a 3/4, so he passes the bolt test or whatever. That's like
Commander.
I don't know if it does or not, to be honest.
I don't know if it does either. It doesn't really matter in Modern either right now either.
I would never discount the bolt test.
Yeah, I'm about the path and the push test right now. Also the smasher test. Anyway, yeah. So this is pretty sweet. I like Taigum a lot here. Obviously seeing it in Taigum schemings, and then finally getting to see what Taigum actually looks like. Pretty cool here, and I like that it's not just going to be a bunch of 5-color legends, but we're actually going to see some actual good support for the dragons themselves. So I'm going to take one next, and I want to talk about Okagachi Vengeful Kami. This is a 1 white, blue, black, red legendary creature, dragon spirit. It is a
You forgot green.
There's a green in there.
Oh, I was trying to ignore that part. I knew it was
what?
out.
No, that's not flavorful at all.
I know.
You're off the card.
1 white, blue, red, black, green. Dragon Spirit Mythic. It has flying and trample. Whenever it deals common damage to a player, if that player attacked you during his or her last turn, exile target non-land permanent that player controls. What? This is silly.
Well, it's a tie back to, I think, Final Verdict or whatever.
Yes.
It's a 7-mana sorcery that exiles all creatures.
Yeah, I think it's Final Judgment, if I'm not mistaken. This is the dragon from that. So we're getting a ton of Kamigawa lore here. It's really interesting because it's flavor text. At his behest, the Kami War began to regain that which was taken, which is an actual lore item of some importance, I think. So that's kind of neat. So yeah, dragon stuff. And Steven, I'm going to throw you the thing that inspired our title tonight. Tell us about Ramos Dragon Engine.
All right, so Ramos Dragon Engine is just 6 generic mana.
Oh, cool.
Pretty cool.
Stats.
It's a legendary artifact creature, dragon. It has flying, and then whenever you cast a spell, put a 1/1 counter on this creature for each of that spell's colors. And then it has the added bonus of remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos, add double Wooburg to your mana pool, activate this ability only once each turn. So it's really sweet.
Seems strong.
I just want to live the dream of going turn 5, door to nothingness, turn 6 Ramos, turn 7 play something, activate door. Just seems funny. And this, given its commander, you can do this faster too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm already kind of imagining scenarios where this is played with the Phyrexian Angel, whose name I'm forgetting all of a sudden, who proliferates every upkeep or whatever it is.
Atraxia.
Atraxia, yeah, that just seems disgusting with this.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you don't even need that. You just need a steady stream of
or
multicolor stuff.
One of my favorite artifacts of all time, Contagion Engine. Double proliferate. Get on my level.
Although I'm pretty sure like the combo here is just going to be like doubling season and primal vigor and all that stuff, and just be like, oh well, I'm just going to have this be my commander. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to play this other spell. It's over 20 power.
Yeah.
Wah wah. Or over 21 power.
Yeah. Yeah. And to top it all off, we have one more here, and it is quite possibly one of the most probably evocative names in Magic that I've ever heard in Magic. So you guys have heard of the Scion of the Ur Dragon, right? It's a very popular EDH commander because it goes good in Dragon Tribal, right?
Yeah, he's pretty strong.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've always wondered, at least. Well, the Scion is the child of the Ur Dragon, so it always kind of made me wonder, where is the Ur Dragon? He's here now, or she, or it. I'm not gonna assume, but the Ur Dragon is here. And for 4 generic, and a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green, because that's important, you get a legendary creature dragon avatar 10/10 with eminence. As long as the Ur Dragon is in your command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost 1 generic mana less to cast. It has flying. And whenever 1 or more dragons you control attacks, draw them many cards, then you may pay or may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Hot damn.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid how powerful that is.
Hot damn, yeah. Pretty gross. Pretty gross. It is.
I
Oh, go ahead, Steven.
I really enjoy how people are like, oh, I'm just going to play this guy, and then I'm going to play Omniscience. I was like, yeah, next turn you play another land, and then you just naturally play Omniscience.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. People are like trying, like how they're trying to cheat this into play.
Oh yeah, it's that's what Magic players do. We complain about everything, and that's all.
Cheat everything into play.
Exactly. Yeah, cheat everything. Yeah, cheat on mana. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't free cast it, and we're casting it. So what are your guys' overall thoughts? Justin, I'll go to you first. Like, how are you excited for this 5-color dragon deck?
I mean, like, these cards seem sweet. It's just not my playstyle, but these cards are pretty cool. If I were to pick one card that I was excited about, it would be Tygum. Unfortunately, he's not going to be available in any sets that I do play, Modern or Standard, and I doubt he'll make a splash in Legacy. He might, but unlikely.
Justin is truly the flinger of far-flung hope.
Yeah, I said unlikely.
That was some real fancy alliteration.
Ah, thank you. What about you, Steven? What do you think about these 5-color dragon nonsense that we have here?
I'm really excited to see Aloro's keyword come back.
Oh,
or rather,
yeah.
get a keyword.
Yeah, exactly. Aloro being the Esper commander, which is frankly kind of broken, if you ask me.
Yeah, and then that one's as long as it's in your command zone or on the battlefield, same as this. Yeah. So it's cool that they're giving it a keyword.
Yeah.
And Eminence is so fitting for commander, which is really cool.
Yeah, the flavor there alone is just in that word by itself is very, very cool. My only worry here is that if these are all truly 5-color commander decks that we're going to be getting, obviously it's going to be difficult to fill out 5 colors of different tribes. So
allies would be really good at 5-color.
Well, yeah, it's most likely gonna be Dragon, Ally, Elemental, and I don't know what the 5th one or the 4th one's gonna be.
I'd be okay with that.
My guess would be like human, maybe. Human? Or is that too easy?
Yeah, but that's too easy.
Ally? Yeah.
And I don't know if they're gonna all be 5-color. Like Dragon might be the only 5-color.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if they do Elemental has to be 5-color.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Elemental.
I'm forgetting the one that we saw reprinted in Commander, or not, but Modern Masters 2015. Crap. It'll come to me later. But yeah, I'm pretty hyped on some of these. Horde of Notions. There we go. Gosh, took me a minute. Yeah, I'll be curious to see if we get to see a full 5-color complement of all the tribes. But for now, I think these are pretty cool. Actually, I like dragons. I like Tygum. I like Narset. I like Ojutai. Things are cool.
I like cat dragons, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, Cat Dragon. It's like one of those things that you, like you said, Steven. Like you never expected that you actually wanted it to be a thing, but then you thought about it and you went, "Yeah, I need it to be a thing in my life." Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Anyway, yeah. So it kind of sucks that these were leaked the way they were. Again, they have in no way tied to the Turn One Thoughtseize podcast. This kind of sucks that this is so far out that before these even gotten proper spoilers. So, it sucks, but cat dragons are cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all fun and dandy, but let's turn our attention to something a little bit more serious here on this show, right? Serious. And let's talk about Aetherworks Marvel, guys. So, for the past, let's see, Uncut came out when, like 3 weeks ago now, 4 weeks ago. My count here.
It was back in April. It was almost a month ago.
Yeah, okay. So a month ago, Amonkhet came out. Of course, we had Velvet Guardian banned literally days before its actual release. Jerry T wins the Pro Tour with Mono Black Zombies, as well as a host of Aetherworks Marvel decks in the top 8. Last week, we had 2 Grand Prix, both finishing with a Aetherworks Marvel mirror. And we're starting to see the format just kind of coalesce around you're either playing Marvel or you're playing to beat Marvel. So before we really dig into this, I want to get you guys just quick thoughts here. Justin, I'm going to go to you first. Aetherworks Marvel, good or bad for Standard? Go.
I think it's fine in Standard. I wouldn't call it good, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. In Standard, for as long as I've been playing competitively, which started at the release of BFZ, there has always been a deck to beat and decks that are designed to beat that deck. Okay. And so this is nothing new to me. This is definitely the least ridiculous deck to beat that I've seen. Because, I mean, 4-color Rally, 4-color Rally was bad for Standard. Right. After that rotated out, Bant Coco was slightly, minusculely less bad for Standard than 4-color Rally was, but it was still pretty bad. And then we had some sweet decks for a while. Marty Vehicles was awesome. Black Green Delirium was awesome, etc.
I like the phrasing. Was awesome.
I actually got to say, Vehicles is making a comeback again. They've got fantastic sideboard support for fighting both zombies and fighting Marvel. Yeah, there we go. So, anyways, they're actually getting into a better spot now. You've got Dispossess to take out their Marvels. If you can cast that turn 3, they can't win the game.
That is false.
That is false.
and I don't mean that to be rude, but it really depends on what type of pressure you're applying to them. Mm-hmm. Like if you're so if you're playing Mardu and you're able to go Toolcraft into Heart, and you're able to put pressure and then cast Dispossess, yeah, you have a pretty good shot. But if you don't and you're just tap land, play Scrounger, play Dispossess, it is that turn is key for Marvel because in essence it's just a over glorified tempo deck because it has this big finish that it can randomly hit you with. So it's kind of it's a very weird deck in the sense of what it can do given the hate that comes around for it.
Yeah.
Well, the Mardu decks that I've seen showing up on mostly on online lists have switched to be they've gone away from being the mid-range deck they were and kind of gone back to not completely where they were when Vehicles first showed up, but they're more focused on having that aggressive pressure than the version of Mardu Vehicles that was out before Amonkhet. So, yeah, right. I mean, it's less.
But we're assuming that there's always going to be the good draw of 1-drop, 2-drop into Dispossess. But we even saw at the Pro Tour It was Christian Calcano in the top 8 resolved not Dispossessed but Lost Legacy. He resolved 2 Lost Legacies against a Marvel player and still lost. So
I think Lost Legacy is worse against them than Dispossess, though, because they just have such a wide variety of threats that.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to
whereas if you take out Dispossess,
but he was able to name Chandra and Ulamog and still lost. Like, took out the key pieces of the deck that are hits off Marvel and still lost to Marvel. So that begs the question: if you take out the Marvel, you still leave the threats. So if you take out the threats, you still leave the Marvel. So it kind of proves the point that there's that cards like that just don't do anything for you. I think, and that's always kind of been the case. Like Surgical Extraction kind of being the one outlier there. But you guys probably, I mean, Steven, you played back when Memoricide was a thing in Standard, right? Was that before your time?
I don't recall. I think it was around, because wasn't that New Phyrexian or whatever?
Yeah. So kind of card just didn't do anything. Cranial Extraction back in Kamigawa block also never really did anything. So it's like, the card is good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like it's a targeted hate card for sure, but I just don't think it does enough, especially when we see really high competitive level play proving that it's not enough. So
well, I mean, also that in that high level play instance, that was like one case.
Yeah,
I mean, there will be times whenever it's good, and there will be times whenever it's bad. But ultimately, like, I don't think you want to be. So it comes back to tempo. Like, I don't think you want to be taking off your turn 3 to do something. I think you would rather take off your turn 2 to transgress, because I think transgress is better because it's dealing what they actively have, and it's dealing with what they actively have in their hand. Whereas Lost Legacy and Dispossessed, you just hope it's there, and you hope you got somewhat of a free card. I mean, Lost Legacy replaces the card, but it's more of a I hope I hit rather than I know I'm taking something and I get to choose the best card to take here.
Yeah.
So like I honestly think Transgress is more important than the Lost Legacy. Now I would have Dispossess in my sideboard for blue-red control. Like I want to hit Torrential Gearhulk whenever I can.
Yes.
But I don't think that Dispossess does enough against Marvel.
Yeah. So let's go to you then, Steven. So in your opinion, real quickly before we kind of jump into we've already jumped into the meat of the discussion, but give your quick opinion. Is Aetherworks Marvel good for Standard?
So I honestly feel like they were never able to realize that Marvel was this much of a problem. I mean, they did back, with the Emrakul and Ulamog stuff, but no one ever played Marvel to a successful finish while Cat was around.
Yes.
And so we basically traded Cat for Marvel, and like while Marvel is a little bit more flashy and not quite as frustrating to play against, but equally frustrating to play, in my opinion. It's just a really weird deck. Like I enjoyed playing it, but there were times when it was just like, oh, this is brutal. Like for instance, I was in GP Montreal, and I played against Mardu, and I had like everything locked down. Like I was fine, just trying to find a finisher, and I marveled 5 times, and I was like, well, the nice thing about this 6th marvel is I'm statistically unable to miss. So here we go. And I hit it on the 6th one.
Okay, and you got there, so that's good.
Yeah. I was able to eventually beat him, but yeah, like the nice thing about the Marvel deck is whenever you do miss, like you have somewhat of a cushion to keep in the game, assuming the pressure they provide isn't like overwhelming. Like that's why I think Zombies has a good shot against Marvel. Game 1, Zombies has a good shot against Marvel because of the lack of hate that Marvel has main deck.
Yeah.
But once you get to Game 2 and that you have the Chandras and the Sweltering Suns and such, it becomes a lot harder for them to fight through all of it.
Yeah. But if we see the trend that like once we see that Marvel and Zombies are like the premier decks of the format, that allows this blue-red control that you mentioned to kind of sneak into the format and go, all right, I just need to be able to have an active game plan against Marvel in the form of counterspells and an active game plan against Zombies in the form of Sweepers and Chandras. And so that puts Zombies in this really weird place of you can't ever commit to the board against either deck, or you have to commit to the board against both decks to be able to beat them down fast enough, but you pray they don't have the Sweeper or the Chandra. Either from just casting naturally or hitting off Marvel, which can just be absolutely backbreaking.
Yeah, you're mainly wanting to commit with a Crypt Breaker that allows you to just dump your dead removal spells into it, and then actually get that card advantage, so that once you do get Wrath, you can just recommit right away.
Yeah.
Like for instance, one of the guys I went to Montreal with, I was watching him play. His opponent, Sweltering Sun, wipes his board, and he's able to go Diregraph Colossus, Metallic Mimic, and then next turn he followed it up with Lord of the Accursed plus something else, and it's like he was just like right back in the game.
Yeah, and if you go back and watch that finals match between Jerry Thompson and Yuya Watanabe, that's how he beat Yuya. Just card draw and be able to rebuild the board every single time, and also Yuya missing on 2 consecutive Marvel spins, which I think was kind of funny.
Yeah. Nothing's more infuriating than a Marvel mirror, let me tell you. It's fun, but holy crap.
Yeah. So let's look at Marvel as itself as a card. You know, it was designed to be flashy. It was designed to show off a brand new mechanic, and if it had just been, you know, like if it didn't cost 4, let's say it cost like 5 or 6 or even 7, then it's just a casual card, and then it wouldn't sell packs anymore. It wouldn't sell the set anymore. Do you guys think from a design standpoint, you know, just remove the gameplay equation, you know, for the most part, but from a design standpoint, do you guys think the card was a mistake? And I'll go to Justin first on this one.
I really don't think it is. The problem is that the sets surrounding it had such powerful threats, because with BFZ being... I don't think BFC was originally supposed to be in Standard at the same time as Kaladesh.
Nope.
And I think that's the issue.
Yes.
Because had we not had all these incredibly powerful Eldrazi, this deck would not be an issue.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really cool card. I really don't care for cards. I mean, I know you can't have a set and then not put casual cards in it, but when you're showing off a new mechanic, and you're showing off this new mechanic, and this mechanic is going to be unique to one block, like I think you need to avoid putting as few casual cards in it as possible. You should try and put as many playable cards that are cool, interesting, and, you know, not the most powerful cards, but certainly, you know, powerful enough that people want to play them in their standard deck. Okay. Now, of course, we can go too far with that, and then we have Infect. But, you know, Energy, fortunately, is not Infect. So,
dang it. I used to love Infect. I loved Infect. What about you, Steven? Do you think that Marvel is a design mistake?
I want to say yes, but not for the same reason that Justin was going at. My problem with Marvel is if you are committing to play Aetherworks Marvel, you are committing to also play Attune with Aether and Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot, and either Whirler Virtuoso or Rogue Refiner. So there's no real innovation as far as like the core of the deck. Like, it's all going to be the same, and then you basically just slightly tweak it, and you're like, oh, look what I did. Like, you know, for instance, Daniel Ward was playing a Bant Aetherworks list, and, you know, he didn't have as much of the energy theme that, you know, like Yuya's list has. So, like, in order to accommodate for that, he's playing Servant of the Conduits, main deck Shielded Aether Thieves, and, you know, your full slew of the Rogue Refiners and Attuneth Aethers. Yeah. And the Puzzle Knots. And so, like, it's still, like, the same deck, just slightly shifted. And, like, that's cool, but, like, I like to build decks, and I like to, you know, have a lot of fun brewing, and it's kind of hard to successfully do that at the moment, given, like, all these decks that are just kind of, you need to be playing this effectively. And it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, and I think by extension of that, you know, going even a step further, you know, once you say that the Marvel deck can only look like one thing, and that's the successful version. Obviously, there are Bant versions, there are Sultai versions, which look pretty cool, but they're not Teamer Aetherworks Marvel, and that forces the format to shift in a very specific direction as well. So I think that's a really good point there, Stephen, is that once it starts out forcing the entire deck to be built around a certain way, and there being no deviation, it forces the format to react in a very certain way as well. And if the tools aren't there to fight that very specific build, then what do you have left? And that actually kind of brings us to the point we've been talking about for the last couple of days on our Facebook chats is, do we have the tools necessary to fight against Marvel? And Stephen, you brought up Pithing Needle, actually, and kind of an idea of injecting emergency cards. That's something I touched on an episode a couple of weeks ago. So I was kind of curious if you kind of give us what your thought about that actually looks like when you put emergency cards into standard via sets or however else it would be done.
So I think that Wizards' approach to like try and fix the format is great. I like that they're actively trying to help, and they're listening to the community. I don't think it's right to like listening to all the clamoring of the community. Like I'm glad they did the emergency ban on Felidar Guardian.
Yeah.
But it's kind of awkward in the sense of how they announced it, because they're like, oh, we needed a little bit more data, when we all know that's not true.
Yeah.
Like, no, you just received like a crap ton of backlash, just like the pro thing from a couple years, or from last year, and it's just like, no, you guys like backed on it, and like that's fine, but I don't think that taking away is the answer in this case, because that's just going to create a negative environment, because people are going to open packs and be like, oh, well, you can't play with this card.
Yeah.
Now I think it'd be nice if they could go, all right, we have these generic answers like Tormod's Crypt, Pithing Needle,
Rest in Peace.
Yeah, and there are like a couple other artifacts that like the Witchbane Orb, like things like that. Just these generic things that can kind of go into every deck as kind of a way to smooth it out.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be cool, but the problem you run into there is, well, now every deck's just going to be playing these because they're added to it. New players aren't going to know where to find these cards because they can't open them from packs.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the same situation with the welcome decks we have now. Like,
that's a good point.
People probably don't know that Sphinx of Magosi and the green Soul Harvest, I think.
Soul of the Harvest, yeah, and then Terra.
Yeah, Soul of the Harvest is like currently standard legal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's interesting. I honestly don't know like what in the world the fix would be for the situation. I mean, I think it'll be once Kaladesh kind of irons itself out and is rotated, I think everything will go back to normal for the most part. Like, I'm glad that Wizards has been taking the risk on the cards because I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've gone about handling the negative responses to what they've created very well.
Yeah, definitely. So Justin, what do you think about putting emergency cards into standard like that?
Well, I like the idea. However, it would need to be very, 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 very carefully tested.
Yep.
And they probably shouldn't put something as powerful as Pithing Needle into standard.
What's wrong with Pithing Needle? Pithing Needle's great.
It is a great card in Modern.
Is it too powerful though for standard?
I really think
he had it in standard whenever Packrat was around.
Yeah, it was just fine back then. It really didn't do anything.
Okay, I don't know. I feel like Pithing Needle is incredibly powerful. I mean, I guess with the artifact hate we have, maybe it's not terrible, but it would, regardless of whether or not it works, or whether, well, I mean, it'll work, but whether or not it's too powerful or not, it just needs to be heavily tested to make sure that any emergency cards that enter don't completely screw up the meta. Like, you would need to get a collection of pros to test, any cards considered entering significantly.
Right. And we'll get to that point, but you made an interesting point there when you mentioned the artifact we already have. If the artifact hate was already good enough, would we have the same problem we do with Aetherworks Marvel?
Well, the artifact hate that we have is decent. The problem with Aetherworks Marvel is that if you don't counter Aetherworks Marvel, then they're probably activating it at least once before you destroy it. Because
you should never play Aetherworks for 5 or below.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, with that in mind, that's what keeps Aetherworks Marvel so resilient to artifact hate, which is why I like Dispossess in the sideboard for them. But anyways, well, I'm not going to go back to that debate.
You're good.
But with Pithing Needle, like, we have plenty of artifacts to answers. We have a 1-mana green instant artifact kill spell called Natural State.
Yep.
That
It's
would be
3 or
great
less,
for taking
though.
out. Which Pithing Needle is how much mana?
1.
Exactly. So in regards to Pithing Needle entering, maybe the artifact hate would make it fine. The point is that cards would have to be tested, and then also cards would need to be made available to people. If you're going to print a card into Standard as an emergency answer, then they either need to add them to second printings of packs, or they need to print extra copies that people can purchase from them, which they will never do.
That just seems really
Yeah, they
awkward,
can't.
too.
They just have it be the the extra card in all the sheets. Like if you ever see foil or rare sheets, it's just randomly a million approach of the second sun or something like that.
Which would make you
they just
instantly
put it
happy,
there.
Steven.
Hey, I tinkered with the card.
I think it's going to get there eventually. Once we get rid of all the Eldrazi when BFZ rotates out, I think you will have your day in the sun, Steven.
Yeah,
Yes.
You're welcome
We
for
shall
that.
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing about Standard right now is that, once we have BFZ and SOI rotating out, we're going to open up a lot of design space for what we see in decks.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So, I mean, because we're just going to be losing some of the most powerful cards we have at the Standard. Gideon's gone. We'll be losing, the Eldrazi.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember SOI, what it brought in.
Ishkana, but Ishkana hasn't been a player since...
Well, and
Deliver.
Grimflare.
Oh, and Grimflare,
Traverse.
Yeah.
Grimflare is freaking nuts, guys. I play against that card every weekend at Sunday Night Modern, and oh my god, that thing is so hard to beat. Side note.
Card strong.
Card is ridiculous. Anyway. But yeah, I definitely agree that once we get rid of those very problematic sets, Gideon, Ulamog, and the like go away, I think we'll be in a much better place as Standard goes, and it'll make Aetherworks Marvel less of an impact. Because, and you even said it yourself, Justin, it was not designed to be in the same Standard with Ulamog and the Eldrazi. So Wizards probably was like, yeah, this card is going to be sweet.
It was, but not for this period of time.
Right, it would have already rotated out by now. We would have probably only had...
It just would have been in there for a couple months.
Yeah, we would have had and it might not have even done anything because we would have had cat combo to deal with, which is, its own problem.
Well, I mean, it did stuff in the fall because that was the reason why Emrakul got banned.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But we might see a completely different banning situation right now.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my final question about Aetherworks Marvel. And it's kind of a two-part question here, actually. So, should it be banned? And does the previous amount of bans we've seen over the past 6 months, we've seen 4, Smokebush Copter, Reflector Mage, Emrakul, and now Felder Guardian, does the existence of those bannings happening give credence to the solution of just ban it every time a problem card comes up? Steven, what are your thoughts?
I hope this is the last set of standard bans that we see in a while because I don't think this is the correct way to approach a troubled format. Like I was previously stating, and I don't think Aetherworks Marvel deserves a ban. I think this is just something we're gonna have to live with for the next few months, and I mean it'd be cool if something in Hour of Devastation gets added. I mean I'm I'm excited for the notion of Marvel into whatever Nicol Bolas ends up being.
Yeah.
So like that's
High
going to be
five,
entertaining.
Steven. High five over the webcams. You can't see me,
Yeah.
but you can see me doing this.
Yeah, and see that's another problem too. Like once Nicol Bolas comes out, like it'd be cool to play the Dark Intimations Nicol Bolas deck, but Grixis is nowhere near strong enough to keep up with the pace of Marvel. Like Marvel versus Blue Red Control, like is still favored in Marvel's sense because like those games are gonna go long. Marvel just gets to hang on to these Harness Lightnings for their Gear Hulks, and then eventually you just get to start casting your Ulamog.
But what if you activate Aetherworks Marvel and hit Dark Intimations? Like what if it just
that'd be pretty gas.
What if we just play like Grixis, Grixis Marvel?
Do we have enough support in Grixis colors for energy though?
Don't talk like that.
Oh well, you have to play green for Attune because like if you're gonna play a Marvel deck, you need to be doing that, and then Attune gives you the fixing that you'd need for those other colors. Also, Aether Hub's just like great.
Oh, okay.
So
So it's full color Intimation
So-
Marvel.
you
Gotcha.
okay. To be honest, you're really just gonna be Teamer Marvel splashing black. Like you play one swamp and you just rely on your Aether Hubs plus probably like a Smoldering Marsh.
You're crushing my dreams here, Steven. I just want straight Grixis to come back. I want Nicol Bolas to be awesome. I want Cruel Ultimatum back in Standard.
It's okay. You'll get a Cruel Ultimatum Invocation. Just wait.
Oh.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah! Alright. So, second part of the question to you, Steven. Does the existence of previous standard bans give credence to the fact that banning a card, and you've already kind of said that you don't believe it should be, that it should not give credence to future bannings. Is that your opinion as well?
Yeah, like I don't think that this is a sustainable thing in the long term because like so the first card game I played was Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I played that for a year. And in the time that I played Yu-Gi-Oh, like the ban and restrict list for that like bounced all over the place.
Yep.
And like it was fine, but it was really odd for people to be like, "Oh, I bought this like $400 deck." Oh, this got like restricted or something. All right, now I bought this $300 deck that's completely different. And it was funny because like for me, Konami used the BNR list to sell packs.
Oh, yeah.
So
they
like,
absolutely did, because it was like one card could cripple an entire deck if it was restricted or banned outright, couldn't it?
yeah, because like Gravekeepers at one point were like really big. Then they banned like one of the key discard spells for it, and then they unbanned it like back whenever I started playing because they had like whatever it was that was bonkers. And it's just like I don't think that's the correct way to approach anything. And Magic doesn't do that. It's just right now this has been a very abnormal season because of how the decks have played out and how public opinion has been on them. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I ventured over to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Article side of TCG Player one afternoon. I was aboard at work. That game makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I consider myself a pretty intelligent guy, but my God, that game is dense. Aside.
I mean, it's the same thing for Magic if you think about it. It's just what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, but you can at least read the cards in Magic.
Oh, Pendulum monsters aren't that big of a problem. I had one of my buddies like explain it to me one evening at an F&M, and I was just like, sure.
It's like, that's fine. Sure, whatever. Just give me Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician, and I'll be happy. That's all I want. That's all I want. All right, Justin. Should Aetherworks Marvel be banned, and do the existence of previous standard bans give credence to banning more cards in Standard?
No, I'm still convinced that we'll find an answer to Timur Aetherworks. I think decks have more play against the deck than what people say it does. I think it's just a matter of finding the right balance of sideboard cards to answer it for the decks that don't have mainboard answers for it.
Sure.
I think that Mardu Vehicles, as it keeps evolving to adjust to the new standard, is getting more aggressive to put that pressure on. Zombies is pretty good at putting that pressure on game one. And then we've got this, this control list, blue-red, that
Oh, good looking too. Love it.
yeah, it's pretty sweet. I think once they've got their solid list figured out. I mean, keep in mind we've only been playing for 3 weeks,
Right.
maybe maybe a little bit longer. But we still have time to figure things out. I don't think it's time to panic yet. And even
Unless
if it
you're
is,
at the disco.
um,
Ah, damn it.
oh god. But anyways, even if there turns out to be no answers, the deck isn't so oppressive and so powerful that I think we need to do a banning.
All right, you heard it here first, guys.
I think it is slightly oppressive, but I don't think we can afford another banning.
Like I didn't say that it wasn't oppressive. I just said that it wasn't so oppressive it needs a banning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think that banning another card so soon, because we'll have a ban and restricted update. It'll be 5 weeks after the Pro Tour that it happens, so we're going to be about 3 or 4 weeks out until we see have it happen again. And I think if we just get into the cycle of every single time something is seriously up on the chopping block to be considered for banning, I think that is a huge problem. And so
Yep.
I think Magic players in general kind of need to pull up their pants and just be like, all right, let's just deal with this.
Well, let's just wade through the muck and get it over with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
We-
it's also really interesting too, because if we're saying like this is as much of a problem as it is, like Bant Company is like a huge offender from last year, and like Wizards like admitted that Reflector Mage was a problem back then, and they probably should have taken action on it. But it was just one of those, look, we're just gonna ride it out, and like I think honestly they should have ridden it out. I mean, I know that like made people upset, but this Aetherworks Marvel I think is easily the best deck, and like you should be playing it, but you know it is what it is.
Yeah, it sucks when that's kind of the consensus. I've heard that statement many times from many different players who are very good, and I respect their play skill. If you're not playing it, you're doing it wrong. But I'm just looking at like MTG Top 8 right now. Like, it only has a 20% hold on the metagame, which is considerable but not absurd.
Hey Alex, how much does Splinter Twin have?
Over on Modern?
Yeah. Wasn't it like 16 or 18%? It was like lower than this.
I'm gonna look just because it hurts. It's
Oh no! I didn't mean to derail you.
it's not here anymore.
You poor.
I'm okay. There's a sweet new 4-color cat combo deck in Modern now that I'm like, oh, I'm so on board with this. Yes.
Infinite 1/4s. Let's go.
Yes. Maybe not instant speed, but we'll get there. But yeah, so like Aetherworks Marvel isn't even in the top 10 cards being played in Standard right now. I mean, it's taking up a big portion of the metagame. Fine, but I don't think, like, yes, we need to be aware of things. So, like, looking at the last 2 weeks, oh, it's a 30% hold on the metagame. Oh, never mind. That was still counting cat combo in the format because of the 2 months.
Take foot out of mouth.
Yeah, I didn't have the time from adjusted correctly. So I think we just need to keep an eye on things, and players just kind of need to, like I said, wade through the muck, pull your pants up, and just deal for a couple more months.
Do what Modern players did.
It's
for a little
okay.
while.
Standard attendance was dropping anyway. What's a few more hundred players?
Exactly. Yeah, and there's all kinds of things to consider, and we do now have that new play design team that's being built with inside of Wizards that is separate from R&D, that is separate from the Future League, which is going to apparently help with this problem. We will have a full article coming out about that in June, so just next month we're going to hear, a couple weeks, like less than 2 weeks now, we should have some kind of explanation on what they're going to try to do moving forward, because I think Wizards wants to make powerful cards, and they clearly have. They just need a better way to see those powerful cards before they become a problem like we have here, and you give us 4 bannings in Standard in less than 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, frankly, kind of embarrassing if you ask me.
No, it's fine. It's just part of the growing pains of the deck. Or of the game.
Of the game? We didn't ban it. We haven't banned anything in over 4 years. It's been Jason
and that's
Stoneforge
great.
missed it.
That's great. Like, that's fine. Like, The fact that
actually is
power
fine,
creep,
yeah.
the fact that power creep hasn't caught up with us until now is great.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Like
it.
the fact that Siege Rhino wasn't big enough of a problem that people were like outcrying and like calling for that to get banned, and it didn't get banned. Like, that's fine.
The only reason I defend Siege Rhino is because I was playing Siege Rhino at the end of that standard season.
Yeah.
Now that being said, screw Thragtusk and screw Cavern of Soul standard.
Boo.
God, that pissed me off so much. Did you play back then, Justin?
I did not.
God, you were so freaking lucky.
Yeah, I was on hiatus at the time. I stopped. I stopped right after Lorewind and then got back in at RTR.
Those were dark days, weren't they, soon for us control players?
I loved killing a Thragtusk and then your opponent unbarrel writing it and you're like, I have to kill this stupid thing 2 more times.
Yeah, the freaking 4-color rights decks, I'm just like, having to deal with multiple loops of Angel Serenity, screw that. Like,
yeah. No, I mean that was like a unique time back then because, like, to be honest, that deck was slow and you could go under it if you were playing the Sly deck.
Yeah.
But,
or you just sit
still
there
cool.
forever with a million counter spells up and then Sphinx of Revelation for like 1 million. I went back and watched the Gate Crash Pro Tour top 8. There's a game against Jerry Thompson and Melissa DeTora. Jerry's on Jeskai Control, Melissa's on 4-color Bant, and they're both Sphinx of Revelationing for 8+ mana during those games. It was glorious. Yeah. I was so happy watching it.
Man, you need to play Taking Turns so that you can Nykthos, untap it with Minamo, or tap Nykthos again, and then Sphinx's Rev for like 16. It's great.
That seems pretty good too. I can get behind that.
And then still have mana to cast your Time Warp.
I'll just cast
Gross.
I'll just cast Ulamog on turn 3 and Modern against my burn opponents because their Goblin guys are very haphazard, giving me all my Tron pieces.
Seems good.
So good. So good.
How are you Ulamogging turn 3? Judge?
Well, they're hitting the Tron pieces off the top of the deck for me.
Oh, and you just happen to have triple Gemstone Mine or something in your, or Gemstone Cavern in your opener?
No, I was able to hit multiple pieces of the Tron lands altogether.
But if you're doing it turn 3, that's 7 mana. I digress.
Well, no, because I was playing my lands at the same time, so I had multiple pieces in play.
Okay.
It might have been turn 4, I forget, but it was great. It was awesome.
Math is hard.
Math is hard. I'm not at work anymore. I don't have to do math, so there's. That.
Yay, no math.
Oh, geez, I played Legacy Storm 2 nights ago. I tried to play it without my little notepad, and I was pretty rusty. There were multiple times I went off and be like, 1 mana short. Could have waited a turn? Yep, my B.
Blast it all. Alright. So, that's another week in Magic. At this point, I have no prediction for what's going to happen next week. It's only Thursday, and nothing's blown up yet other than these spoilers for Commander 2017. So next week, who knows what's going to happen? Any predictions?
Well, we get GP. We get the modern GPs this weekend, which is going to be sweet.
That's gonna be
and then we get
Yes.
GP Omaha too.
Yeah.
And then we have RPTQs and then Vegas, which is going to be great.
Are you guys going to Vegas?
No.
No.
I got a really good deal on a room, and the flight wasn't too bad, so I will in fact be going now.
Oh man.
Cool.
I don't know. I'm very much on the fence of that right now. We'll see. But anyway, so I think that wraps it up for tonight. Big shout out to, of course, Justin and the picture of Steven for showing up tonight and talking Magic with us, as always. It's been fun. Not talking to myself is always great. To interact with us over on the social medias, look for us on Twitter at EOT Newsflash. You can find Steven at SSpellPierce on Twitter and Justin at Justin.
Yeah, it's just at Justin.Forkner. Or no dot. Just at Justin Forkner. Forkner.
There you go. All right. Find us on Facebook, just for the EOT Newsflash. Send all of your love, hate, and respect to eotnewsflash@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out all of my video reviews over on YouTube at EOT Newsflash, as well as all previous video episodes. And, Steven, I want you to say it because I've said it for 2 weeks in a row.
I'm glad we're now considered to be co-host, and let's do it again.
Yes! All right. That felt good not to have to say it. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.